TAS sports competitions are the focus of the associated schools. These sporting competitions are organised for 8 co-educational independent high schools in Brisbane, Australia. And let me tell you, as high school sports competitions go, this one is definitely worth watching. Hey everybody, welcome to the very first episode of TAS Sport. It's worth watching. I'm your host Chris and I'll be taking you through this first episode solo. So let's kick it off. Yes, it's exciting news. TAS Sport is going to restart this Saturday, July 18, the first Saturday back in Term 3. We'll be playing our usual Term 3 sports of boys football and basketball and girls volleyball and touch. We're going to try and put out a 10 to 15 minute podcast on each of these sports every week. We'll see how that workload wears us down. This episode's a quick one to bring everyone up to date with the COVID-19 constraints that we've had to put in place for all TAS and junior TAS sporting fixtures over the rest of this term. It's important to realise TAS are complying with all state and federal health requirements and restrictions. This means that there are some things that we'll have to do differently from our usual Saturday sport routine. Our first constraint is that if you've just returned from overseas, if you have COVID-19 symptoms, you're feeling unwell, or you've recently been in contact with someone who's been overseas, has COVID-19 symptoms, or is feeling unwell, we ask that you stay away and don't enter any of our TAS venues. Our next constraint is on the number of attendees. We still have restrictions on numbers allowed to attend games. Indoor fixtures are still heavily reduced numbers, and outdoor events are still requiring a specific square meterage per person, which again limits the numbers that we can have present. So therefore we're going to resume TAS and junior TAS sporting fixtures with a limit of one adult, carer or guardian for each participating student athlete. So siblings can't be present if a parent or guardian is present, so you'll need to make other arrangements. Siblings who play at a different time or venue doesn't mean that you can now have 2 people watching each game. 1 spectator per athlete per game. So you'll have to make some kind of arrangements for your other siblings who might be there ready to play another game. Next, it's important that all of our student athletes and their one carer or guardian turn up for only their game, making sure that they turn up at the designated time and not earlier. We need to be able to move our people in and out of the courts so that there's no commingling of groups, and so the early games need to be off court or off field before the next game can come on. We've got a little bit of a buffer and timing there so that we are able to accommodate people and to have a bit of a warm-up before their next game, but we do ask that you don't turn up until the time that you've been given by your director of sport at your particular school. Another constraint that will assist us with limiting commingling is that we'll have entry and exit points marked on each of our playing areas, whether it be fields or courts. And we ask that everyone attending a TAS or junior TAS sporting fixture follows those directions that are given to them. Sometimes it may mean walking a little bit further than usual. If your designated parking area is not where you would normally park, we want you to go and park where you've been asked to park. That'll help the flow of people at the venue, and it'll help us all to follow the directions. Because most of our sports canteens are run by volunteers, TAS have made a determination that no canteen facilities will be open on game days. And this will help to ensure that people move off campus straight after their games and help us to maintain our biosecurity structures that we have in place. Most schools will have people giving directions and asking you to wait before you move on to courts or fields. We ask that you follow those directions and do your best to help us to keep in tune with those biosecurity measures that we've needed to put in place. If we can follow all of those directions, I think the whole day will move a whole lot smoother for everybody. Junior TAS fixtures will be taking place this term as well, and all of those same processes that I've outlined earlier in the podcast will apply to junior TAS fixtures. We're looking forward to playing sport again, and I know the directors of sport and the directors of junior sport and all their teams at all of our TAS schools have worked really hard to make sure that we've been able to meet all the parameters we've needed to meet. If you see them this weekend or even this week at training, or maybe next week, make sure you say thanks. It's another small piece of normal for all of us. For some of us, though, that small piece of normal means a great deal. So give them a bit of a thank you for all of their hard work. Oh, that's full time. I trust that you have a good weekend of TAS Sport ahead. We're looking forward to chatting again next week. Bye for now.